But before that, I just did some crystal made some crystals.
Team, assemble!
So let's ascend Bennett. Mr. Bennett.
Oh, ow! Where did that come from? Benny's Adventure Team, assemble!
Nice, Bennett. Now I can start leveling these subs. Oh, it was tomorrow. Oh, nice. I will farm this tomorrow, I guess. So we have to get. Oh, dude, I don't have any constellations for it. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. And we got the 500 jab. $5K. And let's claim the Mechanicus thingy. I use my Ganju to shot the eye of the Canriatillers. So there's a special event with Albedo and Clay. Albedo. But for now, let's just get the other quest, the guests.
Look, that figure on the wharf. It looks like Kazuha.
Kazuha. Of course, the red one.
Greetings, traveler in Paimon. I heard there would be guides for the Iridori Festival, but I didn't expect it would be you two.
Oh.
We didn't expect to see you either. Returning as a guest for the Iridori Festival, no doubt.
Huh.
I was a little surprised myself when I received the invitation. But after wandering the outside world for so long, it's good to have an opportunity to return to my homeland and pay respects to my old friends.
You respected Shogun, right? Do you respected Shogun?
Kazuha, when we saw you in the distance just now, you seemed to be looking for something. What happened?
Ah, yes. You see, when I came off the boat with everyone just now, I suddenly heard light footsteps around me.
Yeah. I was thinking that Ayato has something to do with the ninjas.
I could tell they were not footsteps of a regular passenger. But by the time I turned around, the person had already disappeared. I only heard a splash come from below the pier.
Yeah, ninjas.
Even though I didn't manage to catch a glimpse of them, I found this strange piece of paper by my feet.
Oh, does the paper happen to have a poem written on it?
Huh. How did you know?
Ooh, how did you know?
Fascinating. It's almost hard to believe such things could happen.
Kazuha, can you show us that piece of paper?
Sure, here it is. Please, have a look.
Akahito. Long have I been famed, and since my youth I had great ambition. I stamped every new verse with a scarlet seal, and thus was I known to all. But last year, when we presented our verses, mine was found to be taken from poets past. For the theft and deception, I was banished into the wilderness. The 5 radiant lights never shall be again. Ah, how the tides do shift.
Last time, Aoi no Okina's poem ended with a reference to Akahito. And sure enough, this is a story about him. The story this time basically says that Akahito got his name from his love of red seals. However, the shogun discovered that he had committed plagiarism, and he was soon exiled.
Oh, just like Kazuha, that he was exiled and he read. What a coincidence.
Well, if Paimon were to rate today's story, it sounds pretty unfortunate.
Well, the other stories weren't much better either.
I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with this story. I too was once wanted as a criminal by the shogunate. So I'm not all that different from Akahito mentioned in
Really,
this story.
Kazuha? Wow.
But according to the story, Akahito was exiled by the shogun because of his wrongdoings. You did nothing wrong, Kazuha. Huh? Traveler, what are you thinking about?
The seal mentioned in the story, maybe it can help Shincho.
Ah, by the way, you mentioned that your friend has been struggling because he's unable to sign his name quickly, right? In Liyue and Inazuma, there is a saying, that which has been stamped has also been signed. Perhaps using a seal could be a feasible solution. While sailing at sea, I sometimes carve things to pass the time. If you wish to create a stamp for his seal, I might be able to help.
Wow, that's an idea! Quick, let's go tell Albedo!
Look at the bell. Wow. 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 There's no better here, but
Albedo, we figured out a way to help Shincho!
I like that one of my doggies.
Interesting. A story of the 5 Kasen
Very
appears
smart
again,
fish.
and with a timely solution.
She goes out. If it's cold, she goes back to bed. My other dog is more loyal, I guess, or more dependent. He's always here, bothering me.
Stamped seal, huh? Let me think. Indeed, it is an efficient solution. If we use a stamp, then Xingqiu won't have to struggle with his handwriting anymore. However, since Xingqiu's signature has been previously revealed to the readers, it would seem insincere if he only used the stamped seal for his new books. But I have another idea. Using a seal is a part of it, of course. Let's go to Ouya restaurant now to discuss my idea with everyone.
You put the seal, and maybe some random faces, a little name here and there, you know. So I'm thinking doing the Klee mission along with the new Tether Mechanicus Day. The other mechanic is... Ujo restaurant. Where is Shincho? Oh, oof! Oh no!
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
that's it,
that's all.
Genyu. Your writing has greatly improved today, which means yesterday's intensive training was effective.
The camera pan like so intense.
My apologies, but I simply can't do it anymore. My hands are so sore that I can't even move them anymore. I should have
master
known
like-
better than to read novels during calligraphy class.
From down to up, like the teacher, the guy bossing him around, and he like, oh, I can't. From up to downwards, too little in defense, little boy.
You just had a 10-minute break. Come on, you can do this.
When it comes to pushing a deadline, there's no one more brutal than Mr. Hirayama.
No wonder Lady Yai would always send the editorial director to handle troublesome authors.
Whoa, this is getting scary. It hasn't even been that long and Shincho's already zombified.
Oh, the banner is the image of the book.
Mr. Hirayama, we found a solution that might just solve our dilemma.
They weren't in the previous one, right?
In both Liyue and Inazuma, seals are widely used as the equivalents of a signature. If we use a stamp to leave the author's seal on the books, then we could make the signature process a lot easier. Of course, a seal on its own is not enough. So, I propose that each signature consists of 2 parts. First, we'll use a personalized seal. We can simply carve one using Chenyu's signature as the design.
The books is.
In addition, I'll also design a simple but elegant pattern that's easy for Chenyu to write. That way, he will only need to draw a simple pattern on each book.
Let me think. All right, I think that would work. Not only does it still involve the author's own handwriting, but the result should be very beautiful as well.
So, what you mean to say is, I've been saved from this predicament?
Yeah.
Mr. Hirayama, it suddenly occurred to me that the reason we gave up on live book signings previously was because it would take too long for the author to sign each book. But if we adopted Calx's proposed method, we might have enough time to do signatures at the live event. And if all the authors signed their books in the same fashion, then Genyu's signature wouldn't look out of place.
If you think it's feasible, I would certainly be happy to design signatures for the other authors as well.
Ooh.
Yes, and you may leave carving the stamps to me.
In that case, I shall contact the other 2 authors participating in the new release event.
It is a great honor to use a signature designed by Calx.
My pen name is quite complicated and isn't suitable for signing events. However, if we implement this new format, then it'll be a dream come true for me as well.
Kanenokoji Kensaburo.
Great! Looks like
Saburo.
everyone's on board with the idea.
I'm sorry to have kept you busy for so long, Genyu. Please, take the next few days to have a good rest. We'll handle everything from here.
Nice.
The books that Genyu already signed can be used as special prizes in future events held by the Eye Publishing House.
We did it! The event is saved!
Thanks to everyone's efforts, Onodera and I are finally free of that mess.
Yay!
That's right! Chincho. Maybe you should step outside for some fresh air.
He stepped outside.
Onodera, please inform Lady Ai of the changes in the event planning when you have a moment. She will surely like to hear about our new idea. You're a quick thinker, Onodera. As long as you exercise a little prudence, you'll be able to achieve great things in the future.
Got it. Thank you very much, Mr. Hirayama.
I suppose this is all a blessing in disguise, isn't it? I'm sure readers will be thrilled to hear that the release event will also have a book signing.
Nice. So these... No, they even move.
We still have some time to burn. Where should we go next?
To Celestia. To Natlan. I want to go to Natlan.
Traveler, there you are.
Ayaka!
Oh, it's Ayaka! And Venti! That's an interesting combo.
I was just going to the festival venue to prepare the Ikebana lesson when I found a strange piece of paper on a flower stand.
Ooh. Oh, so nice. I remember that people, they like Ayato because of her sister, of his sister. I mean, she's good.
This bar just happened to be close by at the time. He informed me that you've also found similar papers recently. As such, we came together to find you two.
Kitsy kids.
But the paper she found isn't quite the same as the ones we found before. Here's the paper. Please, have a look.
Everyone just watching. Ayaka's hand. Sumisome. Sumisome. I submerged the verses into clear water, and the truth did emerge.
Huh.
Okay.
All the poems we found before were roughly the same length. But this one is only 2 lines.
And even though there are only 2 short sentences, neither of them are next to the title or centered on the page. The position of the writing seems to indicate that there is other content written on this paper besides these 2 lines.
If we take the poem literally, it reads, "Dip this paper in water and see the truth naturally appear."
Ooh, Shincho, so smart.
Speaking of which, I have an ancient text at home, specializing in ancient and exotic stories. It mentions a special ink that will show itself when wet and disappear when it's dry.
Ooh, look at them. A bunch of frenzies going through Inazuma. Oh, dude. Screenshot this.
So, shall we give it a whirl? It just so happens that there's a pond nearby.
A girl? Oh, you're animal, right? Oh. How we love the especially chosen words for each character. Whoa! They are all looking at us, trying to step on us.
Let Paimon see what it says.
Going over his poetry, I found that the plagiarized piece did not have his scarlet seal. I submerged the verses into clear water, and the truth did emerge. The true verses were not washed away, but the text of that despicable crime faded. I know Okina passed me by just as he was writing verse for Akahito. One storm had yet to settle, and it was already time to write new poems. Oh, somebody did him wrong? Yeah. Okay, somebody used the trick to blame Akahito of plagiarizing.
Story says that after Sumizomi got the collection of poems from Akahito and put them into a stream of water, the plagiarized words in the poem became blurry. Huh? Why would that happen?
Because of the freaking ink or some low quality things, Paimon.
You see, Paimon, in the past, when printing was not yet well developed, handwritten text could easily become smudged in books when exposed to moisture. To ensure the text lasted longer, they'd either write using a special ink or coat the paper's surface with a waterproof coating once the writing was finished. Such special inks are time-consuming and laborious to produce, and the waterproof coating could also prove just as difficult. However, since Akihito's poetry collection was an important gift to be presented to the Shogun, surely one of those two methods was used to protect it. But as for the plagiarized poems, not only would they lack Akihito's seal, but the words would also react differently when exposed to liquid.
So this poem wasn't written by Akahito. It was added later by someone else.
Which means Akahito didn't plagiarize his work. He was set up!
Oh no!
Yes, it appears that this is the truth that Sumizome's story is trying to convey. Although the story is saddening, I've decided on the subjects to use for Akihito and Sumizome's portraits.
Really? Is it going to be Kazuha and Ayaka?
Kazuha, Ayaka, would you be willing to be the models for my paintings?
I would be delighted.
Yes, as would I.
There you go. The next two portraits should be ready in no time.
Yes. And now that all 4 stories have all been collected, the story of the 5 Kasen is now fully completed.
Ooh, nice.
Long ago, Inazuma had 5 legendary poets. People bestowed upon them the title of the 5 Kasen.
One year, the poet Suiko made his way to Tenshukaku and presented the Kasen's work for the shogun's perusal. But a page from the works of Aoi no Okina had been torn out, and Suiko was questioned regarding the matter. Suiko pleaded guilty. He admitted to drinking at the tavern the night before, and vaguely recalled a mysterious figure approaching while he was intoxicated.
That figure was none other than Aoi no Okina himself. This turn of events had begun with an unnamed individual, under whose coercion, Aoi no Okina was forced to take drastic measures to retrieve a page of poetry. He knew nothing of this individual's true intentions. All he knew was that the poem had to do with an old acquaintance, Akahito.
Akahito had once belonged to the 5 Kasen. Each poem he composed, he marked with a scarlet red seal, hence the Aka in his name. Such a distinguished writer was he, and yet one of the poems he had submitted the previous year was found to be plagiarized. Akahito was exiled for his crimes, and only 4 of the 5 Kasen remained.
Sumizome went over Akihito's poems and noticed that the plagiarized poem lacked his seal. she immersed his poetry in a stream nearby, and only on the plagiarized poem did the ink run. Aoi no Okina passed by and witnessed Sumizome's doing, which he then recorded in a poem. Thus transpired the events of Suiko's poetry submission, and this is where the story comes to an end.
Of course they will use a seal for the main event. It was all planned. That one looks nice. I guess all of them look nice. Ooh, he's tight. Too much punishment for a plagiarized poem, right? Like, who cares? Paimon, what's wrong? You seem upset, Paimon.
Yeah. Ever since we completed the story of the 5 Kasen, there's still one thing Paimon hasn't been able to figure out. One of the 5 Kasen is called Kuronushi, right? It's just that... how could the story of the 5 Kasen finish without him appearing at all?
Oh! Have you really not noticed?
It's Albedo!
Huh? Not noticed what? This is no time to be playing games, Tone Deaf Bard!
You're not funny anymore, Paimon. Did they change who writes the Paimon lines, or it's actually planned?
What he means is that the story of Kuronushi was already embedded within the 4 poems.
Huh? Really?
That's right. The key lies in the poem that Aoi no Okina wrote after seeing Sumizome rinsing the poetry collection. An average person could never understand the scene of a young girl washing Akahito's poetry collection in a stream. Even Aoi no Okina couldn't figure out the meaning behind Sumizome's actions. He was simply reminiscing and thinking about his old acquaintances. However, for the perpetrator who framed Akahito, it was completely obvious.
Ooh, the 5th.
He was worried that if this poem was seen by the Shogun, then the Shogun could discover the truth behind the plagiarism incident. If that happened, then he'd be finished. So, in desperation, he threatened Aoi no Okina to make him tear out this poem.
Which means, the one who threatened Aoi no Okina is the same person that framed Akahito!
The culprit is none other than Kuronushi.
What? Kuronushi?
That's right.
That's right. Though there are only 4 poems, they still managed to tell the complete story of all 5 Kasen. Since the Shogun mentioned in the poems is certainly not the one of the 5 Kasen, the only character left is the mysterious one with an unknown identity.
Oh, okay. Paimon is finally starting to get it now.
However, this also brings something else to mind. The story of the 5 Kasen has more or less reflected everything that's been happening around us lately.
Really, Albedo? I didn't notice.
Which begs the question, is there a Kuronushi in our world as well?
Ooh. Ooh, I'm reading the camera pan to see if there's a glimpse of a secret cat ninja.
Kuronushi? In our world?
Like that maiden behind Paimon.
Speaking of which, I wonder if our dear Kazuha has come up with anything.
Oh, right! Kazuha! He's been pretty quiet this whole time. Let's ask him!
Ooh. Pam, 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 pam. Okay, well, hi Rika. Ooh, how are you? Almighty Shogun. Ooh, what? Because I have Almighty Shogun? What's with those ears? Nah, don't worry about it too much. This is just something they say in the novel. Oh, like, hello there, General Kenobi Dum Dum thing. I mean, pretty please, Kitsune Guji. Is the tale of the loser shogun and the Kitsune Guji who can do it all? You know, I did ask Lady Jai if publishing such a novel was alright. But Lady Jai just said, don't worry about it. As long as it says it's all good. But she doesn't move her mouth. Is that her hair in the ears, or is just 4 of the ears? Anyway, in fact, this book actually sold pretty well. But every time I look at this text, I can only think, our Shogun truly is a forgiving soul. Okay, I will leave it here, so we will reveal the end of the 5 cousin, and I will probably do the Theater Mechanicus. Be right back.